At first glance, all airlines may appear to be the same, but one gives you a special way to fly. An airline so large it carries over 30 million people a year, yet so personalized you can reserve your seat a year in advance.
We have the seat you want, Mr. Martin.
In a world of airlines, one airline, American Airlines, can make your trip something special.
Welcome aboard.
Something special in the air.
La breakfast,
La yogurt,
la snack,
La yogurt,
la lunchtime,
La yogurt,
la topping,
La yogurt,
la pick-me-up, la dessert, la midnight snack, la health food.
La yogurt, that's La yogurt for you. La 100% natural yogurt, mixed La French style, in all your favorite real fruit flavors. So come, fruit lovers, put a little La in your life.
For any time,
La yogurt,
la yogurt, la yogurt.
Richard Dawson hosts Family Feud tomorrow at 7:30. From WNBC-TV, this is News 4 New York with Chuck Scarborough and Sue Simmons. And tonight's cover story with Dave Marish.
Good evening. 3 new nationwide polls on the presidential race are out tonight, and they show that Sunday's debate is having a big impact.
Except where it counts so far. The polls show voters overwhelmingly think Walter Mondale won the debate, and they show the voters' opinions about Mondale have dramatically improved since the Sunday showdown. But polls also show the voters still intend to vote for Ronald Reagan. He holds a 15 to 20-point edge, down a few points from his lead last week, but still formidable. The debate, though, it has at long last given Mondale supporters something to cheer about, and cheer they did when he arrived in New York tonight. Gabe Pressman reports.
He was greeted as a hero, still reaping dividends from his performance against the president last Sunday night. Walter Mondale, gladiator in the great debate, cheer tonight here at the Sheraton Center. A $1,000 a plate dinner for the so-called 1984 Democratic Victory Fund. $1.1 million raised from some of this nation's wealthiest Democrats. $200,000, dinner officials said, came in just the last 2 days. New York's venerable Democratic fundraiser, Arthur Krim, talked of the pride he said they all felt in Fritz last Sunday night. Variations on that theme for Mayor Koch and Governor Cuomo. Pride seemed to be a big factor here. After months of acute political depression, some loyal Democrats were feeling good again. Mondale, who earlier today accused the Republicans of sounding frantic, tonight rallied his troops to action.
This campaign has the highest stakes of any in modern history. You saw it in that debate last Sunday. You'll see it tomorrow night, and you'll see it in the foreign policy debate the following Sunday. We need your help. You've given it to us tonight. Because of it, we're on our way. Continue to give us that extra oomph, and we're going to win this election, not for ourselves, but for our future and our children's future. Thank you very much.
Democrats assembled here tonight were on a high, scenting the possibility of an upset. But 2 veteran leaders of the party, National Chairman Charles Minette and Queensborough President Donald Maness, both told me that while they thought the campaign had turned around, much depended on what would happen in the days and weeks just ahead. Gabe Pressman, News 4, New York.
Well, Geraldine Ferraro was not at tonight's fundraiser. She was home studying for tomorrow night's debate with Vice President Bush in Philadelphia. Sue?
Another debate is raging over whether President Reagan, now 73, is young enough and fit enough to handle the office for 4 more years. Today, Mr. Reagan's doctor said the president is in excellent health. The president was asked if he felt tired toward the end of his debate Sunday night. His response led to a retort from Walter Mondale.
No, I wasn't tired. And with regard to the age issue and everything, if I had as much makeup on as he did, I'd look younger, too.
That's the same answer Nixon gave when he debated Kennedy. Mr. President, the problem isn't makeup on the face. It's the makeup on those answers that gave you a problem.
The second and last Reagan-Mondale debate is set for the 21st of this month. The subject, foreign policy.
Tonight, a Methodist minister is the latest person charged with sexual abuse in a Bronx daycare center. The Reverend Nathaniel Grady rented space in his church to the Westchester Tremont Daycare Center. Tonight, he's facing 42 counts of rape, sodomy, and sex abuse. The Bronx DA says 6 children, aged 3 and 4, filed complaints against him. Grady is free tonight on $25,000 bail, pending a court appearance on Friday. He pleaded innocent to the charges.
On the east side of Manhattan tonight, a bitter tenants-landlord dispute is raging over a construction job that may force the evacuation of the building. At issue, a bizarre plan to build a driveway through the first floor of this four-story walk-up on East 78th Street. Demolition was halted this evening, and inspectors called in when a crack was spotted on the front of the building. Outraged tenants accused the landlord of trying to drive them out.
He came in, began work on this apartment, even though he had not been given permission to do so by the Department of Buildings.
We have full authority by the city. We are well within our rights. We have all the permits that we need.
We're not even sure if that permit was the actual permit for the construction work. It could have been a permit for anything, for all I know.
Certainly here to protect the rights of the tenants, the main thing being the tenant safety.
And if you're thinking of tenant safety, you wouldn't do this while there were tenants in there. What's the matter with you?
Well, at this hour, tenants of 403 East 78th Street are under temporary orders to vacate the building. They're awaiting a city inspector's final determination on the building's safety.
Tonight, a man was killed in a collision between a car and a fire truck in Queens. The accident at Union Turnpike and Hollis Boulevard injured 6 firemen, one of them seriously. The man driving the car was killed. The injured were taken to Booth Memorial Hospital. And tonight, some other firefighters found they were not seriously injured in a fire at Grand Central yesterday. As Dave Marish explains in tonight's cover story, it's not the flames, but deadly chemicals they're worried about.
Chuck, you may remember a well-known movie scene of recent times. Remember that gripping scene in the movie Silkwood? Meryl Streep as Karen Silkwood stripped and scrubbed down in a hot shower because it was feared that she had been exposed to nuclear radiation?
Yesterday on East 38th Street in Manhattan, virtually the same scene was replayed 28 times at the fire department's engine company 21. One after another, 28 city firefighters stripped and showered and hoped they had gotten away clean from a possible exposure to PCBs. Today, Mayor Koch held a news conference to assure everyone that PCB exposure in this fire had been minimal and almost certainly not dangerous. But the 5 hours of fear felt by the 28th firefighter who had to wait to use the single shower available at Engine 21 can't be scrubbed up so easily. Whenever we hear transformer fire, one firefighter told me, we think PCBs, which is good thinking because as yesterday's event showed, even when the transformer has been retrofitted with cooling oil without PCBs, some of the PCBs can stay behind. Enough in this case to have caused a considerable leak near where the fire occurred. According to city officials this time, it didn't matter because the PCBs did not ignite and neither dioxins nor dibenzofurans were given off in smoke. The place with the most transformers in this town is Con Edison, and spokespeople at the utility told me they have a triple-check system to make sure the fire department is alerted in advance to any potential PCB hazard. A complete record of where PCBs are in our system, Con Ed says, is on file with the fire department and is kept by Con Ed's own emergency foreman and is part of the institutional memory created by annual safety exercises at every affected Con Ed workplace. Still, as the firefighters union charged yesterday and as Con Ed officials admitted to me, that system doesn't always work perfectly in an emergency. And furthermore, Con Ed ain't the only one with PCBs on the premises. The city itself has some. And according to a fire department source, they're still working on providing the department with an up-to-date list of locations.
And other firms do no more than federal law requires. They put a warning label on any item that might be tainted with PCBs. But that label might easily be missed in the heat and smoke of a fire. And besides, the time for firefighters to know they may be facing toxic substances like PCBs is not when they're surrounded by flames, but before they leave the firehouse. Chuck?
Thank you, Dave. The use of PCBs in American products has been banned since 1977.
Still ahead on News 4 tonight. While the Democrats were raising money by the plate, so was a gay political group, and the Poles and Stars came out to help. We'll take you there. Marv Albert will wrap up the second battle in the fight to win the World Series. And a woman in space is set to take a floating and giant step for womankind. We'll have that and more when News 4 tonight continues.
If
doing business around the world takes too much time, discover the AT&T International Business Network.
Mr. Columbus.
With AT&T, you can reach decision makers everywhere quickly.
Queen Isabella?
Attend an international video teleconference
But where are you?
without leaving the U.S. Send exact copies of key documents internationally in minutes using fax.
I'm not in the East Indies?
The most cost-effective way, the AT&T International Business Network.
It's Bamberger's Home Furnishings Sale. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. When a 92-piece fine china set is $120. When it's 25% off every lace tablecloth and 35% off warm flannel sheets. Get selected Sealy mattresses for half price. Save $200 on an RCA remote VCR. Get the Braun 12-cup coffee maker for $49.95. A Farberware cook set for $79.95. Put a finish on your furnishing. Thursday, Friday, Saturday at Bamberger's.
Jerry Dybert of Darien, thanks for your patience. Marcia Gilleran of Glen Ridge, thank you, too. And Stu Rosenwasser of Riverdale, you're about to be rewarded. Because right now, your Tri-Honda dealer is taking delivery of the new Civics, Preludes, Accords, and the exciting new Accord SCI. A word to the wise, however, don't wait too long. Your New York, New Jersey, Connecticut Tri-Honda dealers.
It's your city. The city belongs to you.
They didn't know me, and they were very fair about the whole thing and gave us the mortgage right away.
Well, I have a certificate of deposit, and they offer me high rates and a variety of terms.
I sleep very well because Citibank is working for me. This is the first place I ever had a checking account, so I consider it my city.
It's your city, Citibank.
The next time you're sending two packages to the same place, send one by Federal, the other by Airborne. See which one gets there first. Watch out, Federal. Here comes Airborne.
Tonight, celebrities and politicians gathered at the Waldorf Astoria for an annual dinner in support of gay rights. But as Mike Taibbi reports, there was an equal emphasis on political power.
The anti-gay faction was outside the Waldorf. Fundamentalist Christians, we were told, Reagan voters. Inside, it was politics, too, clearly the other side of the spectrum. There were more than 24 politicians in the crowd of 500, many of them gay politicians. The Human Rights Campaign Fund has grown in size and in access to the system, and that's the point. Well, there were some stars around, Maureen McGovern, Lily Tomlin, now is Judy Goldsmith, Harvey Firestein, gag book in hand. But the tenor was political, make no mistake. The mayor stopped by to make the keenest observation.
You know, if there had been a roll call 10 years ago, you would not have had a dinner so well attended
Midway through Koch's remarks, there was a disruption. An intruder had to be led away after screaming at the mayor for the gay-related sex crimes that had been much in the news. It was mostly incoherent, somewhat hysterical, even if everyone tried to dismiss it or keep us from noting it had happened.
That was a kook.
That was a kook. But here's the problem. The mayor may well have been right on both counts. This gathering probably would not have occurred 10 years ago. And that fellow, the intruder, may well have been a kook, in the mayor's words. But the conflict he represents is real outside this room. And it's not likely to go away soon. The program continued, and it was indeed noteworthy that this grand and moneyed event by and for the gay community is now part of the annual calendar. Not all of what was said here would be approved with unanimity outside this room. But it doesn't have to be. It is important that it's said in a place like this. Mike Taibbi, News 4, Manhattan.
Guests tonight were asked to donate to the re-election campaign of Gary Studs, the gay congressman from Massachusetts.
Tomorrow, history will be made in space if all goes well. For the first time, an American woman will walk in space. Today, astronaut Kathy Sullivan put on a helmet and she breathed pure oxygen preparing for the stroll. She and David Leitsma will work on a troublesome antenna, lining up holes so an astronaut inside the cabin can drive locking pins through. Now, Hurricane Josephine, swirling below Challenger, is no longer considered a threat. The shuttle is set to land on schedule at Cape Canaveral on Saturday.
Still ahead, we'll show you why some bluegrass blue bloods are worried about the Queen.
And Marv is going to be here with the sports, including Game 2 of the World Series.
Boy, it's great to be on vacation.
Yeah, and we never go on vacation without Hertz.
I wouldn't risk my vacation with an unreliable rental-car company.
And Hertz affordable weekly rates save me money.
But people say Hertz is more reliable.
But now, Hertz costs less money.
Arnie, more reliable.
Less money.
Arnold, more reliable.
Less money.
Hertz Affordable Florida, only $89 a week.
Now the rent-a-car company that gives you more is less.
Less money.
Well, they let anybody in this place.
Hertz, the #1 way to rent a car.
Last time you changed planes in the Midwest, did it seem a bit like the Wild West? Well, next time, fly into an airport that feels like an airport and not like a stockyard. Fly Eastern to Kansas City. In Kansas City, you can stroll from one Eastern plane to another without being trampled and make connections to Seattle, San Diego, Tucson, Phoenix, or 11 other Western cities. So fly Eastern through Kansas City and break away from the herd.
Digital readouts, onboard computer diagnostics, advanced electronics developed by General Motors for the 747. Now many of the same engineers are building the same technology into new GM cars and trucks. So you and your car can drive smarter. Nobody sweats the details like GM.
Marcia,
You play these in an hour.
I need some changes.
We can do it.
Whatever the crisis, it's great to have a friend like the Canon AP300 electronic typewriter.
Look, the page sets up automatically.
Change 12 to 14.
Simple.
I know the limo's waiting.
Almost done. Even decimals line up automatically. You made it.
We made it.
Oh.
Canon. So smart, it's friendly.
Get glasses, Alice. Get glasses. You will get there in glasses, Alice. Get glasses. And pay the guaranteed lowest prices, Alice, at Cohen's Fashion Optical. Where else?
In tonight's News 4 Dateline, President Reagan sent Congress a report showing the Soviet Union has violated several arms control agreements over the past 25 years. Jury selection is complete and opening arguments are set to begin tomorrow in General William Westmoreland's libel suit against CBS over a documentary about Vietnam. None of the 12 jurors who have relatives who fought there. In the Philippines, an official report on the assassination of opposition leader Benigno Aquino, due out soon, says he was shot by one of his military escorts, not a lone assassin. A fire in a Newark metal polishing factory housing dangerous chemicals forced the evacuation of nearby residents and workers, but no toxic fumes were released. And 3 members of the Harlem Globetrotters have reached a $3 million settlement of a suit contending that they were held at gunpoint by Santa Barbara police because they were black.
Well, things did not begin well for Padres fans, but they won the night. They got to be cheering.
Even with the Tigers at 1 in San Diego tonight, Padres beat the Tigers 5-3, so they move on to Detroit tied at 1. First off, check this out. Watch the catcher, Lance Parrish, inexplicably step away from the pitch. The umpire, Larry Barnett, nearly became a soprano. Another look, Parrish stepping away, and the pitch catches the ump, able to shake it off, fortunately. As for the game, when Darrell Evans looped this base hit in the first inning, scoring Kirk Gibson, the Tigers were off to a commanding 3-0 lead, 3 in the first, but the Padres came back. In the 5th, big break here. Bad hop single by Terry Kennedy would have been an inning-ending double play. Instead, set the stage for last night's GOAT, 37-year-old Kurt Bavacqua, and with 2 on, rips it. A no question about it, 3-run home run for a delirious Kurt Bavacqua, who had 3 hits, atoning for last night's base-running stumble. Blowing a kiss to the crowd, receiving a long ovation. And then Craig Lefferts did a masterful job in relief. He struck out 5 of the 10 he faced, but wrapping it by getting Larry Herndon on this adventure. Padres over the Tigers 5-3, evening the series at 1. Tomorrow, a day of travel. Game 3 in Detroit Friday night. And right here on Channel 4 starting at 8, it should be Tim Lala going against Milt Wilcox. One other baseball item with John McNamara resigning yesterday as manager of the California Angels. It is only a matter of time before the Red Sox make the announcement that McNamara will be their new man. McNamara and Red Sox president Haywood Sullivan, good friends from way back, and McNamara's hiring could set off a chain reaction. It would push Earl Weaver out of the picture in Boston and perhaps push Weaver closer to the Yankees in light of George Steinbrenner's recent indications that Yogi's status is uncertain. On the eve of the start of the National Hockey League season, more wheeling and dealing, including one major trade between Philly and Detroit. The Flyers sending perennial all-star center Darryl Sittler to the Red Wings for wingers Joe Patterson and Murray Craven. Flyers going for youth. Wings continue to collect veterans. Sittler is 34, but he still can play. Sittler, incidentally, not pleased about the deal, but
In fact, has threatened to not report, but he may be looking for some more money. And strange, Flyers just named Sittler as their new captain. Rangers, with some shuffling, sending 3 players to their New Haven Farm Club, rookie goaltender Ron Scott, and veterans Robbie Fatorik and Blaine Stoughton, a 52-goal scorer, only 3 years back with Hartford. Stoughton went unclaimed in yesterday's waiver draft. His large salary did not help his cause, and now he is headed to the minors. Rangers still have a large number of bodies on hand. They go into tomorrow night's opener at the Garden against Hartford with a roster of 30 players, so more moves may be forthcoming. And the Islanders got some bad news today. One of their solid defensemen, Ken Morrow, will be out for months. He will undergo knee surgery tomorrow. Morrow, the hero of last season's playoff overtime victory to beat the Rangers in Game 5, and Ken has had knee problems the past few years, so he will be out for some time, which assures rookie defenseman Ken Leiter and Gerald Diduck of making the team. And on this 10th day of October, we have a World Series flashback. 14 years ago to the day, Game 1 of the Cincinnati-Baltimore 1970 World Series, Brooks Robinson put on a show. This one of the remarkable defensive plays in series history. Impossible move by Robinson, robbing Lee May of the Reds. And Brooks also came up with a game-winning hit as he hits one out right here in the 7th inning, and this gave the Orioles a 4-3 win over the Reds. Birds went on to take the series in 5. Couple of football notes. Giants say rookie Carl Banks will start at left linebacker on Sunday against Atlanta because of injuries, plus Andy Hedden had a very rough time. As for the Jets Sunday against Cleveland, Freeman McNeil with bruised ribs may wear a flak jacket. Wesley Walker a question mark with a sprained ankle, but Lamb Jones may return. That's sports. Padres over the Tigers 5-3. Back to Chuck and Sue.
So far, the prediction is still possible.
It certainly is.
Yes.
One of Italy's biggest fashion houses is in the middle of a major flap tonight, the House of Fendi, operated by 5 sisters. Fendi introduced its new spring and summer line along with a new slogan for it, a slogan Fendi felt captured the essence of its new sexy look for women. Italian fashion writers didn't pay any attention to the new slogan, but when American newspapers reported it, the slip hit the fan. The slogan for the new sexy line, shaped to be raped.
When we return, Al Roker returns with the weather.
Nissan 300ZX Turbo. You know the car. But do you know what it's like to drive it? Now you know. Once you get inside a Z will get inside of you.
Come alive, come and drive. Major motion from Nissan.
At your Datsun dealer.
Tonight's sports report was sponsored by Nissan.
For you, there's only one way to paint, because you really care about what you do. So for you, we make only one quality of paint, our best. Like Pittsburgh Paint's interior wall hide, it always goes on smoothly, hides and covers beautifully, cleans up beautifully. It's the paint that makes painting worth the effort. Pittsburgh Paints.
Pittsburgh Paint's interior wall hide is now just $9.49 a gallon at Rickle Home Centers.
Some 30 years ago, this Mr. and Mrs. got themselves a family cat named Dreyfus and invested $10,000 in the Dreyfus Fund. You'll be delighted to know that today the $10,000 has grown to more than $348,000.
Sir? Madam? Dreyfus?
The Dreyfus Fund, an American success story.
Delta conducts itself just like an orchestra. Our pros work together to bring you an airline at its peak performance. Day after day, flight after flight. Delta puts beauty into motion every day. That's the Delta spirit.
Leg looks. It isn't a look without leg looks.
Well, it's a foggy night in old New York.
And it's going to continue that way for just a bit.
just a little bit, and then the sunshine comes out, so, hey, what's to complain about, right? As we take a look at what's going on outside there now, one of our video crews, Dean Hart and Nick Mayer, got this scene of Rockefeller Center for us as we take a look. Our high for the day, 65 degrees. The low is our current temperature, which is 58. Right now, under partly cloudy skies, we have a temperature of 58 degrees. Relative humidity is at 84%. Winds right now out of the south at 8, and our barometer 30.38, and it is rising. Our satellite picture from about 22,000 miles in space shows the cloud cover over New York, but down here we've got Hurricane Josephine, about 500 miles to the south-southwest of Bermuda. It is traveling at about 5 miles per hour to the northwest, with winds of up to 85 miles per hour. Well, our weather situation, we talked about the fog. Well, here we go. What happens? The temperature starts to drop, and the moisture level starts to condense. We get at what we call a dew point. That's the point where moisture condenses. When the two meet, what happens? Well, you basically get fog, a low-lying cloud. That's what's going to happen tonight as temperatures drop down into low to mid-50s, and it's going to last like that through tomorrow morning. But then, as the sunshine comes out and starts to burn off that haze, we should see partly sunny skies. Temperatures getting up into the upper 60s to low 70s, and it's going to be just the same way again tomorrow night on into Friday. So our forecast for you, overnight, cloudy, drizzle, some patchy fog possible, temperatures back into the low to mid-50s. Tomorrow morning, we expect to see cloudy skies with some fog around, temperatures near 60, but then as the rest of the day wears on, look for that fog to burn off, partly sunny skies, temperatures near 70, and then for tomorrow evening, we are expecting clear skies and again toward morning, patchy fog, and temperatures back into the mid to upper 50s. And the next 5 days ahead, well, they're not really too bad. Friday, partly sunny and 72. Saturday and Sunday, we're calling for sunshine and temperatures in the low to mid-70s. Monday, partly sunny and a temperature of 75 degrees. And it's kind of fitting, what with the World Series being played, we've got some World Series weather trivia for you. The question, Marv, you might know, what was the longest rain delay in the World Series? You give up? Well, it was game number 4 in 1911. It was the New York Giants versus the Philadelphia Athletics. Game was supposed to be played Wednesday, October 18th, rained for 7 days, didn't start the game until Tuesday, October 24th. Chris Matheson was going on against the Giants, against the Athletics, and the Giants lost in 7 games.
Right. Must have been a lot of television
yes,
filler.
That's right. Yeah, they put on Adventures of Sea Hunters. Yeah, right.
Al, you raining on Marv's parade there a little bit?
No, Marv likes that kind of stuff.
Yes, it does. Okay. Okay. Continuing with the news, Queen Elizabeth is taking her first private vacation abroad in 17 years, browsing and shopping for a horse to mate with her mares. She's spending 6 days in Kentucky horse country and will visit a dozen different farms. And while the Queen has her eye on horses, the local blue bloods have their concerned eyes on her.
Everyone was terribly upset when all the leaves started falling yesterday because they said, oh, how are we ever going to get all the leaves up? You can't keep up with leaves every day. So that Her Majesty, when she drives around, will think the countryside is not so clean.
Tomorrow, Queen Elizabeth attends her first horse race in the United States, the Queen Elizabeth Challenge Cup, appropriately named.
Kind of an odd picture, isn't it? People scurrying around picking up leaves for the Queen.
What the heck? Nothing's too good for the Queen. Good night.
See you tomorrow.
In a mileage test for 3 of America's highest octane lead-free gas